Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Justin, and I did bring Gerard along for the ride, as per usual. What's up,
Hi,
Gerard?
everyone.
Gerard,
I'm Gerard.
Gerard in the orange who we have now pronounced our videographer. He's actually the one taking all these videos. That's the truth. So today we're kind of just talking about the podcast, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the podcast has kind of impacted our lives to this point. We're going to talk about the future of the podcast, and we might talk a little bit about, like, you know, for anybody that's interested in starting a podcast, like a little bit about how you can do that or why you should do that, which will tie into how it's impacted us so far. We'll give you an idea of how that's going. So Gerard, why don't you just kick us off by just kind of reflecting on the show a little bit and what we've done so far.
Yeah, it's been fun. This is episode 13 or
13,
something?
yeah, something like that. That's a
cool.
good one.
Mm-hmm.
Unlucky
Yeah.
13.
Yeah. So
And
so this is podcast number 13.
yes.
It's been cool to be able to have on like an interview or two. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, it was. And we have a lot. Well, I especially have a lot of interviews coming up in the future, and Gerard will be involved in whichever ones he can make it to, basically, is how we do that at this point. Because I record every day. Gerard has certain days that he shows up for. But if any interviews come up, then Gerard, there's a good chance Gerard will be on them. We're on Zoom now, as you can see. This is different for this podcast, and that will make it look better. We won't have that awkward situation with Noah ever again, where he was the wrong screen, because now we can just switch it back and forth between like speaker view and split screen view, and I don't even know what it would look like if there was a third person here.
Yeah.
But I'm almost positive it would look better anyway, because this is just a good platform to be on. So that's really cool, and that's something that we will probably talk about a little bit when we start kind of digging into the journey here of how we started this podcast and how we come up with some of our ideas and stuff like that, and what we're going to be planning on doing moving forward. So as you might have heard before, we did Real Talk University on this podcast, right? That interview that interview went up on both.
That was the last one.
Yeah, and we did talk a lot of it actually in that episode about how we started the podcast, like the literal starting point, and how that was Gerard being, you know, like shoved off the diving board type of thing. But when we started this, if you don't already know, we basically just had my cell phone, an app called Anchor that we're still using to produce this, and ourselves. And we just used my phone as the microphone, as the, you know, the recording source, as everything. And I hit a little button on my phone. We talked for a while. We didn't edit it at all, I don't think. Like, literally at all. Nothing, no.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No music, no anything. That is episode 0 or 00 of the show that you can only find on the audio, like, podcast streaming platform. So that's Apple, Google, Spotify, Breaker, Stitcher, Anchor, all those. And so if you want to go and listen to that, it's called Our Origin Stories. And we talk about who we are, what we're about, where we come from, all that kind of stuff. And that's how we got started. And now it's 13 weeks later, mathematically, and here we are. So how's that going? We have some big ideas coming up for probably next week. Maybe we'll do it a little bit this week. I don't know. Of course, we haven't had much time. Soon we're going to do an episode talking about guests that we would like to have on.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Probably next week.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, though, Gerard, what do you have to say to reflect? What was your? Let me just ask this: what was your favorite episode you think we've done so far?
My favorite one was either one of the guest ones,
right,
or the Christmas episode, just because it was fun.
Christmas, yeah,
because it was fun to do.
Yeah, I don't really remember much. But yeah, we did some cool ones, and okay, let's split them into two categories since you said the guest ones, because honestly, like, the guest ones are just a lot more fun. It's fun talking to other people.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, it is.
If we're going to so let's split them into like guest ones. I don't know how many we've done. Have we only done 2 so far?
Yeah, there were only 2 on this podcast.
Okay, so there was the guest ones. So like pulling them out, Okay, never mind. Let's not split it then. Well, I don't know. Which one of those two do you think was more fun? The Noah one or the Real Talk Uni one? They're pretty close, I'd say.
I think they're.
Not
I
to
mean, I
really
like them.
call
I like
either
them.
of you.
I like them both, but in different ways.
Right, exactly.
I like a lot of the advice that Noah gave me, and I mean, I like the advice that Real Talk Uni gave me too.
Right.
But Noah's was just more helpful to me personally.
Yeah. Yeah, Noah tossed around a lot more knowledge based on Instagram and finance. And I mean, like, that's what he does. And when we talked to the guys at Real Talk University, they were more about podcasting specifically. And that was just last week's episode, right? So
Yeah.
if you want to go back and look over that one, then please, by all means, go and check that one out for some podcasting knowledge. But yeah, and okay, you say the Christmas one. I'm trying to think. I don't think the Christmas one was really my favorite one because I barely even remember what we talked about for that one. But
pretty sure it was Christmas that we talked about.
I'm pretty sure it was Christmas, but didn't we approach some specific angle of Christmas? We talked about controversial Christmas stuff.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we talked about some other stuff too, but
yeah, we talked about. I don't remember what else we talked about, honestly. I'm trying to think back through all of them. Let's just go in order. Episode 1. I don't even have my phone over here, so I'm gonna have to do this from memory. Episode 1, I believe, was humility.
Yeah, it was.
Humility was episode 1. We talked about humility. That was before we really knew what we started doing, but we thought that was really important to get out there. Episode 2 was the secrets behind. And it was the secrets behind. One of them was Black Friday.
Episode 2 was secrets behind elections.
Elections. We did elections. So we were still kind of sporadic in our topics a little bit. Like, I think they eventually kind of started seeming more similar to each other. But elections was out there. Episode 2 was elections. 3
was higher education.
Higher education. Okay, so it was humility and then elections. I did like the elections episode, actually, now that I think back on that. I think that's really cool stuff to know, and it really pertains
that was kind of
to everybody.
Fun. Yeah.
So, like, and it's cool. Like, it's stuff you don't know. And I love doing stuff you don't know. So that's kind of what the gist of this podcast is like doing actual research and just providing people with kind of just interesting facts, fun facts, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've had
then our opinions on them.
Yeah, I've had a couple of fun ideas for us to do over the coming weeks. The next one, like one, I thought I didn't bring this up yet to Gerard, but one that I thought we could do is the other day. I was laying in bed at night and I was researching basically why the keyboard is set up the way it is, and like the history of keyboards and like typewriters. Cool. And I was like, we could like do some research on that and dig it apart for people. We could do. I've had a couple of ideas and I need to start writing them down so I don't forget what they are. But it's stuff like that we're going to be doing on Sundays from this point forward. Basically, is stuff just interesting fact, things that everybody kind of wonders. A lot of where do babies come from type of questions, and like why is the sky blue? Maybe we'll do an episode on that. Maybe we'll do an episode on how rainbows work. We are planning on doing episodes specifically on how colors work because colors are fascinating as hell.
Because I'm an art person and colors are art.
Yeah, and Gerard is an art person, so that'll be kind of fun. Okay, so what do we got? We got humility, and then we got elections, and then we got higher education, and then we got Black Friday.
We got Black Friday, yep.
Black Friday was number 4.
Then it's the tipping one.
The what? Oh, tipping. I forgot we did that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a fun one, too. I will talk to anyone any day about the freaking tipping system and why it's pretty dumb. But it can be good. But that's what makes it.
For the most part, it's not.
That's what makes it able to be bad. It's kind of it's just like it's one extreme or the other depending on who you are, what the situation is. It's really good for you or really bad for you. It's kind of just like a high risk system, which means it could lead
kind of in a way,
or could lead to super like, but well, I mean, like, in a way, financially, I would say being a waiter or waitress or any other tipped employee is financially risky because there's no guarantee of your income.
Yeah,
but there's also technically not a ceiling on it. Like if someone wanted to tip you like $15,000, nothing's stopping them except the fact that they're probably financially responsible especially if they have that kind of money to be tipping you. So, but yeah, that was stuff like that. Okay, I forgot we did tipping. So what was tipping? 5 or 6?
Tipping was 5.
5. So what was 6?
6 is the secrets behind traffic.
Traffic. So 6 is when we did traffic. I definitely remember doing traffic. There's still a traffic part 2 coming. God knows when.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah,
But it's coming. It's coming up between all these interviews and the colors and the keyboard idea. Now we're starting to get backed up with our ideas, which I thought would never happen. Sometimes it's hard trying to come up with an idea. And parenting is another one that came back to the front of my brain the other day. I definitely want to do like
that would be
an episode on here and by myself and with like other people about parenting and get a lot of different perspectives on that. But neither one of us are parents, by the way, so we don't exactly know what we're talking about, but it'll be fun. No, because then that'll be fun because it'll be like a document.
It's a kid's perspective on parenting.
Not only that, but it'll be like a document your journey type of thing, where if we do a parenting episode soon and then we're still doing this, like, let's just say 10 years down the road to be safe, when we are parents and we do another one,
that would be kind of
cool. We could compare the two and stuff like that. So that'd be pretty cool if you ask me. Okay, so 6 was parenting. Yeah, 6 was
traffic.
No, I thought 5 was traffic. No, 5 was tipping. 6 was traffic. 7 is
a checkpoint 1.
7 was the checkpoint number 1. And I don't know if there's ever really going to be a checkpoint number 2 at this point. Maybe there will be. But once we announce the changes coming to the podcast, which some people know about, then I don't know if it'll still be called that. I don't know if it's like a series anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So what actually went down was episode 7 was the checkpoint 1. 8 was the Christmas one.
Okay.
9 was our goals, which we'll come back to in a second. 10 was another checkpoint 1, but we called it Pod Thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, because we had that as an idea for a new. Well, the difference between, I think, the checkpoint 1 and the Pod Thoughts was that the checkpoint was more like, here's where we are, here's what's going on in our lives, stuff like that. The Pod Thoughts was more like we just took current events and talked our opinion on it, because that was
okay.
Patreon, and we talked about, I forget what else we talked about in that one. I just remember Patreon and something else, like how expensive art is or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of talked about our thoughts on those, just like kind of random topics. Checkpoint was actually more structured in the sense that it was like what Gerard's doing with school, what I'm doing with school, what we're doing with the podcast, so on and so forth. This is kind of like a checkpoint number 2, but we're not going to name it that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so that was that. Okay, so that was what was the checkpoint? Checkpoint was 10.
Checkpoint was 7. Christmas.
Pod Thoughts was 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so checkpoint was 7. 8 was, what'd you say 8 was?
Christmas.
8 was Christmas. 9 was New Year's, essentially. 10 was Pod Thoughts. 11 was Noah. And then 12 was I didn't realize we did those interviews back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if you've been watching for the past 2 weeks, you're used to us having another person on here. This week we don't. So yeah, that's weird. Sometimes I get too caught up in the days that I forget how the weeks work. Okay, so we went, let me see how good my memory suits me then. 0 is origin stories. 1 is humility. 2 is selections. 3 is shit. Wait, I forget what 3 is. 4 was Black Friday. Was 3 traffic? Was traffic that early on?
3 was higher education.
3 is higher education. 4 was the Black Friday one. And then 5 or 6 was traffic. Apparently my memory is not that good.
That's all right. Well, the problem is that like 1 or 2 of them all start with T. So like tipping was 5.
Tipping was 5, then traffic.
And then traffic that also starts with a T is 6.
Yes. Okay. And then 7 was the checkpoint. 8 was Christmas. 9 was New Year's. 10 was Pod Thoughts. And then 11 and 12 were each of the interviews. Noah and then Real Talk University, respectively. That's pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, looking back, how would you say this podcast has impacted you in any way, if it has in any way? Just like, I can't really think of a great answer to that myself. That's why I'm making you answer it first. But like, you know what I mean? Like, is it fun? Has it added a new element of having something to do to your life, or has it?
It has added a new element of responsibility into my life, which I often accept because
Yeah.
I value responsibility. A lot of people don't, but I do.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, that's a really good point, because and I have been like, I don't want to say surprised, but just kind of proud, basically, that like a big part of the reason that I do this podcast specifically with Gerard is because Gerard is one of very few accountable people that I know that actually shows up to do it every week. And like, I don't even know if we're in split screen, so if you could have seen that.
we're not.
But
I'll do that in split screen just so I can possibly make it the thumbnail. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, we're gonna start posing for the thumbnails. But
Yeah.
but no, seriously, Gerard. Like, we have another friend we've been saying, named Ben. I'm just gonna call him out, that we've been saying we're gonna have on one of these for a while. But like, the thing is, he has to show up, and there are, believe it or not, there's a lot of people in the world that have trouble doing that and have
You
trouble
will
setting a
show
date.
up one day.
Yes, we will get him on
Really?
here. It'll probably somehow end up being like a real life situation too, and not like a Zoom call, because I don't know if Ben even has like a computer. But
He does. I was just
Does
at the
he?
theater last night and I saw him with it.
does it have a webcam? That'd be the next
Oh,
question.
that's another question that I can't answer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he has a phone clearly, but I don't even know if Zoom is a phone friendly thing. It's got to be. I'm pretty impressed with Zoom, but yeah, it does add that other element of responsibility / accountability to our lives, in the sense that we actually have to do it, and it's like work. I mean, it is work. You know, we have to do it. We try to have it up by a certain time every week, by Sunday every week at the least, and we're going to try to schedule that even more specifically here soon, so it comes up like at a certain time on Sundays every week, or maybe we'll
Yeah.
change the day or something. But you know, we'll have it, start setting it up so that we have it like scheduled to come up like a couple days before it actually does, instead of just doing it like whenever we wake up that day, so it's more consistent. But it definitely is a really cool thing to do. And another big element of the podcast that we touched on a little bit already, but it's given us the opportunity, and this will like blow up soon, but so far already, it's given us the opportunity to talk to interesting people, to talk to Noah, who's a very interesting people, and to talk to the podcasters of Real Talk University, who are doing very well, by the way. I actually just finally asked them what their numbers are, like in terms of listens, and just in terms of listens, actually. And they're doing really well. I'm not, just because I don't know if they want to disclose their information or anything, I'm not going to say.
Yeah. Well, like from a not business guy looking at both Real Talk and Noah, I was incredibly impressed by the kinds of guests that you were able to acquire for us to interview. Both of them seem like they're really doing stuff right, and it was really neat
Yeah, they are.
for me to see.
Yeah, they both are. I mean, Noah is killing it on Instagram. He's got to be upwards of like 40,000 followers right now.
Yeah, he's
And-
growing like crazy.
And yeah, and he's starting some sort of business venture with other Instagrammers. And I don't know what else he does to monetize it right at the moment, or if he does. Huge dividend stock investor he is. If you're not already following him on Instagram, it's at Finance and Freedom. And he's totally worth following. Gave us a lot of pointers on how to grow on Instagram and things of that nature. And then Real Talk University podcast, of course, that just kind of boomed right when it started. So if you're listening to this, if you're not already listening to Real Talk University, because apparently a lot of people are, then go and check that out. They interview just amazing entrepreneurs. It's amazing some of the names they've been able to get onto their show so early on. And I know they're already picking up ad revenue, but they're getting a good chunk of listeners like right out of the gate too, which is what's kind of surprising about it. But it's really awesome. And podcasting opens up that door for us to talk to anyone. Eric, I don't know if you watched the one I did with Eric a couple days ago. It was like the most amazing interview I've had today, and I'm want to get him back on sometime when you're also here. Same thing with Alex Husseins.
So hold on. Give me some context. Real quick before you move on, what does Eric do, and like what kind of conversation did you have with him?
Eric, what he does, he owns a digital marketing agency, and like a real one, not like You know, not like the ones you see on Instagram left and right. That's everybody trying to start an SMMA. He has an established digital marketing agency.
Okay.
Basically, he's a YouTuber. He's big on YouTube and trying to grow that. Like, that's where all of his focus in. He teaches like Facebook ad stuff on there, how to start your own service business, stuff like that. But what we mostly, I mean, we talked for a long time. We covered a lot of things in that episode. It was almost a 2-hour long episode.
Oh,
Which
wow.
I know just
Okay.
shies people away from it, but it was definitely worth it. But we talked about a lot of like mentality mindset stuff. We talked a little bit about personality types, which is another idea we've had for this one before.
Yeah,
And
that
just
was really interesting.
but it was basically a whole lot of mentality stuff, time management, being productive, things of that nature, and just really eye-opening points came from both sides of the conversation, I think. So if you want to go check that out, it's on my YouTube channel, Justin RP, which I think there's 2 YouTube channels under that name, and I'm the least popular of the 2, so it might be hard to find. But there are links in my Instagram bio to the YouTube channel, stuff like that, so you can find it if you really try to.
And it should have your logo like on
Yeah.
the thing, right?
Yeah, if you look up JRP Daily or JRP Daily Podcast in YouTube, then you'll probably find my channel better than if you just look up Justin RP. But the name of the channel is Justin RP. But yeah, that's how that works. That one in particular was JRP Daily episode 87. So if you type that in, I'm sure you'll find it. But yeah, that's how that works. I also want to get you in on one with Alex Hussein, if I can get him to come back on, because he's a videographer that's applying for like all these huge jobs right now.
Yeah, that one I'd probably do well with listening to.
Yeah, I think that one's a little bit, because we do a lot of business stuff, and I know you're not opposed to the business stuff, and I'm clearly not opposed to it, but like we do also eventually have to get someone on here that's a little bit more your element, a little bit more of the creative make stuff side, and I think Alex would be a really good one for that because he makes videos and he makes 3D designs and stuff of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be really cool to get some of those guys back on. And of course, we're going to get a bunch of new guys soon. I've got new guys like lining up at this point. I've got one that I'm super stoked about that I'm not going to tell anybody about. Well, I'm going to tell some people about, but I'm not going to publicly say until it happens. But I'm super, like, extremely excited. I also have another one at the end of February that I keep kind of forgetting about with one of the biggest Instagrammers going right now. I get a lot of Instagrammers. I mean, that's where most of them come from.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's
what I do.
That makes sense because that's what you do. That's how you spend your time for the most part.
Yeah, that and doing this and doing the other podcast. So I was about to ask you a question and I forgot what it was, and I do that all the time.
I'm guessing, about this podcast because that's what the theme is.
Yeah, probably. We can kind of move on to the announcements. I forgot to check what time it was when we started, and I forgot that this doesn't tell us. So I don't know how long we're running right now.
Yeah, me
but
neither.
I think we can just start the back half of the show right now and explain what's happening. So, guys, some changes are coming to this podcast, and we kind of want to go over what they are, how they're going to work, that kind of thing. Don't worry, the orange is not going away. It's going to stay there. Well, maybe.
I'm gonna go back to Florida soon.
I might have actually lied about that.
Maybe I'll pack the orange with me, but
there will be something though. We'll have characters. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And we'll have the donuts back when he gets back down into Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But so the orange is not permanently going away. Let's put it that way. When he comes back up here, at least the orange will be back.
Yeah.
And but other than that, we are going to soon move this podcast. We're not gonna shut down the channel. I don't think this channel. I think we're gonna leave these 10 episodes here for people to find them, work their way through them, and get to this point right now. But from this episode forward, this podcast is going to be a part of my daily podcast, JRP Daily. It'll be every Sunday. Essentially, we'll name it something like, we'll do like a Sunday sermon or Sunday thoughts or
we'll
Sunday stuff
or kind of neat,
something that has to do with Sundays. And maybe we'll get like banana suits and call it like Banana Sunday. Who knows? But
that's awesome.
But we're gonna be doing that. And what's gonna happen if you listen to my podcast? I talk mostly about marketing and business stuff. every day. Sundays will still be the same types of topics between me and Gerard. It won't be too like nitty gritty marketing business stuff, but it'll be the fun stuff. It'll be what we've been doing all along. It'll be the colors. It'll be the personality test, the history of the keyboard, just all those interesting facts, those Sunday, I almost said secrets. That's what we already do. But I guess that would work, Sunday secrets. But yeah, it would be all
we'll
just
figure out
like all
that's for it.
I just don't know, stuff you should know Sunday type of thing. But yeah, that'll basically be what's happening. So this will be, that being said, for you audio people, that'll be the same thing. It'll be going up on JRP Daily under that podcast. Like we're combining these into JRP Daily. So TVS podcast / The Victorious Secret won't really be coming out anymore. And there's a couple reasons we did that, and I'm going to get into them. One of the main reasons we did that is because of actually in terms of marketing and advertising this podcast, we get too many, or I get too many, like it's too split up for me. And what I mean by that is like when I get an interview, because a lot of times people are busy, and even when you can get them to do an interview with you, they usually don't want to do it twice. So it was too much for me to try to decide, okay, am I going to put this person on JRP Daily? Or am I going to put this person on the other podcast?
This one.
So we're putting them all under one roof. So that way you can just listen to it. If you're an active listener of JRP Daily, you can cut another podcast out of your subscription list. If you're subscribed to both, which God knows what the odds are of anybody being subscribed to both of these, but except myself. But that'll be a thing. We'll all be in the same YouTube channel. So if you're one of like the 10 subscribers we have on here, and you're actually watching this up until this point, go ahead over and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that's where these are going to be coming out from this point forward. I do not video every day episode of JRP Daily, only ones that have other people on them, basically. So any interviews that I do or anything with Gerard will be in video form. But other than that, the videos are going to be changing even more than they already have, because we're doing the Zoom thing now, so that you get like, we're warming you up to how Zoom works and how you're going to see split screen and speaker view and all that kind of stuff. But I think we're going to change roles with editing and things of that nature here soon too. So you're going to start noticing some changes like that. We got another new thumbnail design that I'm testing out, that I want to test out over here too. And yeah, that's basically it. And we've been thinking about rebranding this one for a while. And it's a lot easier to just kind of shove it under the brand that I've already established and already have going.
Yeah,
so that'll be that.
In the future, it might change to something different. Or another reason why it's better that it's over on your platforms now is because, like we talked about already, I'm going back to school soon. And when I go back, it's like, it's a few months and then I graduate. So it's the climax of my educational journey. So I can't dedicate as much time to this as I want.
Yeah, that too. So I'll just probably be like trucking it with the full, like everything in the podcasting realm, because while Gerard is in school, his focus will basically be finding like an hour every week just to talk, just to do the talking part. And then I'm going to play videographer / thumbnail designer / YouTube uploader, everything else for a while, which I already do for my own. I already know how to do it. But just that, if you start noticing these little differences, it's because we are changing everything up. That's what it comes down to. Maybe Gerard, will someday have a microphone, like a forever microphone that he'll actually use. He has a microphone in Florida. That's what takes the place of the orange. Or I guess the orange takes the place of the microphone. But, maybe he'll get one someday. Maybe we'll get him one of these bad boys someday. Maybe we'll get those fancy Shure microphones that they use on like the Joe Rogan Experience and on every other podcast I've ever watched. But those are expensive. And yeah, maybe we'll actually get into more stuff like that. But basically, that's what's happening. So if you like the Facebook page, go like my Facebook page. You can find it at JustinRP56 as like the specific username. So you can find it that way. Same thing with Twitter. Same thing with Instagram, which we don't even have this podcast on either of those two to begin with. But go find at JustinRP56 on everything, and I would super appreciate it. And other than that, yeah, we probably will close down the Facebook page for this because we hardly use it anyway. And when we do use it,
that's a good idea. Okay.
it's just to promote the new episode, which I'll just end up doing on my
On
Facebook
yours,
page
yeah.
from this point. So we'll do
It gives
that.
you a reason to post something else on your Facebook, but
Yeah, that too, because I don't use my
one more
Facebook.
Yeah, it gives you one more piece of content.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, my Facebook page isn't really strong. Like, it's my Instagram where is like where you want to be.
Mhm.
You know, that's why I actually have a following. Twitter, no. Facebook, no. I have like less than 20 people around on both of those. But, you know, so Instagram's where you want to be at. But like I said, we will keep the TVS podcast YouTube channel up just for people to find the original episode.
Yeah,
I think
for
eventually,
archive purposes, we might, if we ever change it and take it off of your thing, or like whatever we do in the future, there's a chance
Yeah.
that we'll use that channel again,
yeah.
possibly under a new name. We'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah, there's that chance. And the other thing I was thinking is if we do someday decide like, all right, let's shut down this channel, like we'll kind of phase it out. Like I'll move, or if there's ever weeks that we just get like super busy and we need something to post on Sunday on JRP Daily, I'll post like a flashback episode to one of the 12 that we already did on there.
Yeah.
I'll like move them over and I'll be like, you know, I'll just be like, yo guys, you know, throwback to when me and Gerard had this podcast and we talked about traffic. Hope you enjoyed it. I listen to podcasts that do that now. They've been out since like 2008 or 2010, like seriously early on. And now they still come out like 2 or 3 times a week with new episodes, but half their episodes are just they call it SYSK Selects. There's 2 hosts. I mean, we could do this and just basically every other week the host will select an episode from the past that they liked and they'll repost it. And that'll be the episode for the week. So, you know, we'll play around with stuff like that. But basically what you need to know for right now is that anything you're following titled TVS podcast or The Victoria's Secret, go change to Justin RP.
Yeah,
or
it'll
Justin
be over
RP
on his thing.
Yeah, it'll be over on my stuff, and we're putting everything under one roof. And we're going to try to really grow the one brand instead of splitting our attention between the 2 brands. So that's the way that's going. The name might change eventually. Who knows? But not my personal brand name, but, you know, the name of the podcast after. Because also, if you don't already notice, the goal with my podcast is to do it every day for 365 days, which we're coming up on 90 or 100 right now. After the 365th day, I want to still do it daily, but it just kind of comes down to what I'm doing at that point. And if I even still want to do it daily at that point, maybe I'll change it to weekly. Maybe it'll just be this one. Who knows what it'll be at that point. But the goal with that is only to do it for a year straight every day. And that's going strong so far. But afterwards, I don't know if it'll still be daily. So maybe at that 365-day mark, we'll change the name to Justin and Gerard's Bromance or something. And like the Bromance podcast. That's an idea.
Bromance podcast.
I wonder if there are any bromantic podcasts out there.
There might be. I don't know.
I gotta look that up now. But we just gave it away too. Now someone else is gonna go do it.
Yeah, because everyone watches this and everyone's gonna steal our ideas.
Yeah, I know, exactly. We're so influential. And but yeah, so that's what's going on with that, guys. That wraps up what I have to say. I talked a lot. I don't know if you have any more to say about it.
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm nervous coming up for school, which is why I really appreciate you taking the bulk of the work. I just have to, show up. That's pretty much it.
Are there going to be like more intense things happening for you for school in the last couple of semesters? Are they really that much different than the first however many months you've been there?
Well, they should be more challenging. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know.
But are there any like huge projects, any deadlines that you didn't think about soon enough, like anything like that makes it like hella stressful?
No, the good thing about it is because it's on a monthly basis, any deadlines you have are made and due within that month.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not like normal school, like where I, for example, have to do all this like community service by the time I graduate, do all this like networking and just a bunch of crap, really.
Yeah, well, I
I
mean, okay.
graduate, but you
So
know,
at Full Sail, there's a community service thing too, but it's not. It's it does help you out. Like we do have like a kind of like a rewards, not a reward system, but like an extra point system in place that's just
right?
different because everything's different.
Yeah,
But yeah, we do have that where community service does help you out, but it's not like a super duper required thing.
right. Cool. That sounds fun. By the way, it should be honestly just like do community service if you want to. That's what volunteer work is. That's another episode we could do.
On volunteer work?
How volunteer work isn't voluntary, like at all. You ever notice that?
A lot of times.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying all the time, and I'm not saying there aren't good Samaritans out there, but
No,
I'm just
no,
saying
you're right.
there's so much required community service in the world that we need to stop calling it community service, because it's like you're not getting compensated in money, but you're getting compensated in passing a class or attaining a rank or
Yeah,
graduating.
they're all for a higher goal.
For
usually.
incentives. So
Yeah.
that'd be fun to talk about. But yeah, so I don't know. I think we stuck around here long enough today. Clearly, we have no idea. I'm Justin. That's Gerard. Follow us on Instagram. We'll leave our little thing somewhere down below. And this is the last episode of the TVS podcast slash the Victoria's Secret. Not actually the last one, but the last one under that name. So head on over to my YouTube channel, Justin RP, and my Instagram and my Twitter and my Facebook and all that good stuff. And Gerard's Instagram just as well, and his Facebook page and his art station, if you're into that.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.